Hello there, and welcome to this video of building the Iron Claw, episode 3, built from scratch. I'm not a hot dog, and let's scratchen and batchen. So I'm starting off my model by building the feet. I'm using some plastic pieces and wooden laser cut planks that I bought from our local hobby store. For the foundation of this model, I'm using a lot of super glue and baking powder to really make sure everything is sturdy and robust, since the feet will hold a lot of weight. I won't show you the whole process of me gluing down pieces and using baking powder, but I can assure you I used a ton of them. Oh no! Is this a Lego piece? No, I would never use a Lego piece in my build. Right? Right? No, never mind. This is blue bricks. It's not Lego. It's totally okay to use it. A lot of pieces I use in this build are actually from IKEA. In the spare parts sections of IKEA you can find a lot of nice plastic pieces with a high quality and a high density, and since I had many laying around, why not just use them? The best fit is the pressure fit. But of course I'm using a lot of super glue just to keep everything in place. Better safe than sorry. For the base structure I was using some wooden pieces, and then I was left with this. The plan is to mount these on there, and with high precision tools and highly advanced technological measurements and my tremendous brain, I drew some lines. But why? Well, valid question. First, I'm not really precise in my builds, and I know that symmetry is the path to success. Write that down. And second, I want a sturdy model, since these feet are the base of my model, and so they have to stand ground, literally. So I drilled some holes in there and secured the foot with the ankle with a screw. This gives a good mechanical hold completely without glue, and they won't even be seen. So I can be sure everything is right where it should be, and I can sleep well at night. So this is what I had in mind: the attachment of the lower legs, thighs and main body. But the connections will change later since change of plans, but this will give you a good glance of what glory you are about to witness. The orange parts are some caps of printer ink cartridges, and the white round bits are cheap milk bottle lids that I'm gluing down right now. So I was left with this. But I didn't like it, so I ripped off the grey bitsies with my pure brutal force, cut out the holes with an extractor knife. Then I rounded out the holes with my Dremel and glued the grey pieces back into the recesses. Now we are up to the thighs that I built off screen, of course double the amount than one thigh, and I'm constantly making sure to double check for the perfect symmetry. I'm using a lot of Lego/blue bricks pieces because they have the perfect scale for the scale I'm building in. I'm not really caring about scale. I don't even know what scale I am building in. It's just, I'm just building what I feel like, and I'm good to go. Here I'm building the most important connection of the whole build. I did not know it yet, but this will give me a headache later on. And a lot of procrastination. The Mech's name, besides from the obvious Iron Claw, is VIGO. And as a little Easter egg, I built in those cubic beads OGIV for VIGO. This coaster or mat that you normally put your dishes on your table to protect from heat or scratches can also be used otherwise. They have great texture and can be easily cut with your ordinary scissor. Just check your local kitchen shops, because there are many great ones out there and they can be used in many different ways. I'm using this mat as some sort of ventilation metal grid texture. Then I pressure fit them into these empty tape dispenser holes, and then I glued some metal pieces in there, because these modules do not only serve as a visual balance but also as a weight balance, helping to distribute the weight of the whole model, since it will be relatively heavy. After the ventilation modules, I got my hands on the arms and the hands. by using some refiller soap dispensers and a variety of blue bricks pieces. Now let's get to the main body of this mech. At first I was trying to bulk out the main shape with many different materials such as wood, and this piece is literally the core component of the mech, and of course plastic and even a metal piece. Right now I was drilling some holes in there to give it a mechanical hold. But of course I was using also a ton of super glue just to give the core a really good hold. Happy with this build, I was drilling some holes in there to establish a connection through the main body part. In the future, the hips will be joined there with the legs, and I was planning ahead to give me all the options to build a really strong bond later on. Here you see the metal part I was talking about. This is a kid's toy, a metal trailer, and this will act as the bulky chest piece. This green bit is, again, a printer ink cartridge cap, which helps to define the main body structure. I was really proud to build with all these different angles, since I feel that sometimes I'm thinking too boxy while I'm building and I'm not really exploring new shapes. I'm still in the process of bulking out the main body, using various bits and pieces no one will ever see. Except me and you. This is our secret. I'm constantly thinking and dry fitting, trying to get all those pieces together. On this video it looks like I know what I'm doing, but you are only watching a stripped down version of me gluing the perfect pieces together. In reality, I'm spending more time on figuring out what to do next, what to glue down next, just to not get myself in the way and hinder myself in the future. With a texture paste, I was filling in all the holes and the nooks and the crannies to even out the surfaces to get a uniform look throughout the whole model. Gluing down various pieces just to make everything even, look good throughout the model. Constantly checking if everything is right in place where it should be, and I was also filling out the middle hole with some metal screws because I knew that the whole model will be really heavy and very front top heavy, and I have to get in some counterweights, so I was using metal screws that I had laying around to have a counterweight. After that, I was filling up the counterweight measurements with some nice laser cutout wooden planks. Also making sure that the arms will still fit in the right place with the holes. As I was experimenting on how to continue the flat surface I just created, I found this futuristic toy car in my chunk boxes. I was gluing it the upside down and making sure everything is aligned properly, because at that point I still did not know where this project is going, how the bot should look like, and I was really trying to push myself. I am fixating the wheels from spinning with some super glue, and then I'm filling some holes with greeblies. This matchstick was the perfect match for the next component, because wood like this is easy to cut, transform, glue. Cut, glue and sand. I added a whole lot of more details, more components, more pieces. So this is a roundup of what I did so far. Enjoy! After my experimenting stage, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to push my model by going out of my comfort building zone. So I decided to put this old Transformers toy tank on top of my model. But I didn't like the way the tracks of the tank looked, because the inside had way better fitting details, so I turned the tank inside out and remodeled it to better fit in style and size. Then all screws were loosened in order to remodel. Bad details, good details. So let's switch them up. I removed all the inside parts with my Dremel that were unnecessary or blocking me from putting it back together. and then re-drilling some holes so I can screw it all back together. I was constantly making sure that everything is even, everything is leveled, and everything, of course, had to be symmetrical. After I was happy how the rearranging had turned out, the tank was additionally secured with superglue and baking powder. There was a lot of off-camera dremeling, removing parts that did not want to go into place, so they had to be removed, and then I glued it back together. This toy tank is really old, and I want you to guess how old. At the end of the video I will reveal the age of this kid's toy tank. After that, a few details were added to the platform. I did not really talk about the functionality or the purpose of the Mech, so let's get that out of the way. This Mech will be some sort of construction support Mech. The main platform, which is basically the tank that I just transformed, will serve as a transportation platform where materials or hardware for construction can be shipped. After the tank transformation, I got my hands on the crane, which I am building right now. This will be the second main function. It can lift heavy duty goods or building materials with its big iron claw. This is where the model got its name from. So all in all, the iron claw is a heavy duty construction mech which operates as a supporting transportation and lifting unit. Right now you can see me building the iron claw. It has 4 fingers for lifting, and the iron claw will be attached on the front of the crane mechanism. I was really happy with how the iron claw turned out. A lot of pieces were fitting perfectly together, and you know, sometimes all things just fit. They are meant to be, and you know you're on the right track. I used a variety of materials for this crane. Some kid toys cut-offs, a paper roll, glue bricks, and some parts of a model kit, which just proves that you can basically use every material for your models. The crane then was fitted into a sort of housing where the crane is mounted on, that I made off camera, and let me tell you, it snuck in like a charm. I use quite a bit of googly eyes on this project, since they make up for a good round bit. You just gotta see the beauty in the eyes. I'm not really sure what I'm building here right now. I guess I'm just trying to bulk out the shape, make it interesting, add some little bits and pieces there. And after that I just glued these two googly eyes, whatever this is, together and combine it with the main body structure, the crane. More googly eyes, promise you, more bulking, more shaping, more adding, giving this whole crane an interesting look and trying to make it somewhat believable that this will be a functioning crane. Wires like these are always great. They help you covering unwanted gaps, make the model more interesting, and actually are very easy to cut and apply to the model. Did you know that my YouTube channel description says that my projects are filmed out of frame and out of focus? Well, not without a reason. Here you can see the tweezers perfectly in focus, but not the main point of interest. Well, that slightly triggers me, and you will notice this every now and then in this video. Let's give more love to the crane housing and add a cool tiny bit from a lighter to act as a rotating mechanism. The plan for the housing is to go to the back right side of the transporting platform. Back to the thighs. With a big drill I'm enlarging the join holes to fit into the hip connectors. And of course I had to do it for the other thigh as well. Fits great. To even fortify the future connection of those two joints, I am twirling a wire with my power drill to get a robust support connection for the future. Out of frame and out of focus. Then cutting off the loose ends and trying to fit everything together to see if everything still fits. I got my hands on some really old model kits that I got on some online marketplace. They are at least over 25 years old, but they still work fine. And you know, plastic never dies. I never worked with actual model kits, so I was very thrilled to see how nice it is to get very detailed and very fine pieces that will boost the amount of details on your model by a lot. They are easy to get off your sprues, easy to cut and to sand, and work well with superglue. I do not really work with phases like at first the sketching phase followed by starting the model with the structural phase and then the detailing stage, or at first I just completely build the body, then the arms, the legs, the head. I work more in a if I'm stuck somewhere, go and work on something else situation. That is why you see me jumping from legs to body to arms and back to the legs. But at this stage I really would consider most important structural components done and definitely entering the phase of detailing, you know, getting everything nice, detailed up and treating every component with love. So while I'm giving love to my model, enjoy these beautiful shots of detailing. I had a lot of fun detailing all the different parts. The carrier platform, the crane, and right now, the thighs. Right now I'm gluing some stripes just for some nice detailing. Although I said that symmetry is the path to success, sometimes breaking the symmetry like here makes it more interesting and believable. Now we have entered the stage of pre-priming. You had it here first. I developed a technique so advanced yet so simple, even you can integrate this into your workflow of model building. So pre-priming basically is covering your model with a mixture of your favorite PVA glue and water. Just blend both until you have reached your preferred liquidity and cover the areas and parts of your model which won't take your ordinary primer well with a simple brush. In the past, I discovered that primer does not stick the same way to different materials, so you will need to cover up your model with your mixture to protect it and help the primer to stick better. In my case, I experienced that these materials needed some covering. Rubbery textures and wires just like these ones, covered in rubber. Wood, which soaks up the primer rather than sticking to the surface. And in this case, what you're seeing right now, paper rolls, because paper also soaks up all the primer. Now I will show you all the different parts that are pre-primed and ready for real priming. These are the legs, the thighs, ×2, the ventilation modules, covered with this nice little ventilation exhaust star, or whatever this is, you tell me. And the main body displayed with the best animation you've ever seen, right? So fluid. Look at all these nice details. This part doesn't really have a name. It connects the main body with this power cell, which also acts as a counterweight. Here you can see one arm and a shoulder pad, which will be attached on the shoulder. That's where shoulder pads normally go, right? The arms, and these arms will be connected to the upper arm or the shoulders, and his little hands, not fully built yet, that will happen later, and the hands will be joined with the arms like this. The transporting platform, also nicely detailed. I asked you a couple minutes ago, how old do you think this model is? Well, you're about to find out right now. Well, it's from 1989. Quite old, but still useful. The crane. Some cargo which I built on camera, but for the sake of the length of this video I cut out. And for this little hole I made a cute little gadget. A rotating lamp. Maybe I create a short where I will show you the process of building the lamp, and when it's ready I'll link it in the top right corner. And these are all the pieces that I built and are ready for priming. I also created some little assets which will be painted separately, because that way it's way easier for me to paint them. And now, let's prime! It's painting time! As all the big ones before me said that painting time is boring time, they are right. That's why I'll hop through this part, because there is not much to explain and I do not really like painting my models that much. Instead, I'll show you some chickens. Deal? So, painting black, painting 2 shades of yellow, covering all the model. The 2 shades, you will never even notice them. Some pops of white. The cables and the wiring, just some red-orange. And we're done. So this is one of my favorite steps in model making. Adding decals and stickers. Because they add so much realism and authenticity and realism. Some of those old model kits had some perfectly matching stickers and they were still working after all those years. But applying them is easier said than done. Even though it looks very easy, it's still very time consuming and fiddly. I recommend using some tiny tweezers, they will help you a lot. Now to the water slides, the decals. Applying them is even more stressful than applying stickers. Watch this. So easy. Much fun. Once you remove the decal from the paper, it's time to slide it into place. And firmly press it down with a cotton bud. How do decals work? Actually, very easy. They come printed on a piece of thick paper, which you cut out with a sharp knife as close as possible to the edge of the print. After removing the decals, you drop it into water, which is a little bit warm. Mine right here is a little bit steaming. After around 20 seconds, you take them out with your tweezers and divide the paper from the glue foliage, your decal, with a wet brush. You will have enough time to slide the decals around with your brush until they are in the right place. Once in place, you use a cotton bud to remove all the excess water and press the decal down to lock it into place. Theoretically easy, but can be quite challenging practically. I'll show you the sped up version of me applying 2 matching water slides. Once started applying decals, you can barely stop. You will start to love this process. But it is really time consuming, and I think I spent 2 days covering my whole model with decals. The best decision I made was buying this silver metal marker. Since I wanted to weather my model and cover a lot of pieces with metal color, using the silver marker instead of a regular brush sped up my process by a lot. Using a brush pen helps you reach hard to reach areas and provides a very good coverage. You can also easily stipple on the marker to mimic the effect of worn or scratched off paint. I was using the brush pen to smear the color on areas where a lot of dents and tension would appear and happen, and then I used a toothpick to roughen it up. This gave the impression of an old and worn off metal structure. And sometimes you just have to get your hands dirty and use them for dry brushing. Speaking of dry brushing, of course I followed it up by the real dry brushing with silver paint. I covered the whole model to highlight all the details and all the nooks and crannies, and gave the bits a metal-like appearance. After that, I made a completely unnecessary step and covered the whole model, every single piece, with an ochre color to weather it. But this step was basically useless, because later on it will all be covered up by the wash. So I just spent some hours for nothing. Assembly time! Easy for you to watch, moment of truth for me. I was really scared of this process, because sometimes I build something which I have in mind and in the end it does not fit together at all. Watch this.
Nice.
This was such a perfect fit, man. So here I'm just gluing all my little assets that I painted off camera together. I wanted to give myself an easy head start because later on it will be rather complicated for me. I also felt really proud of this sprue because it had the perfect size and the perfect fitting. Installing the bumpers and safety railings. attaching the crane to the remodeled tank platform, and the iron claw ready for duty. These are the fingers that I painted before attaching, since this was way easier for me, and now I'm gluing them in place. Rawr. 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 The ventilation modules. And here comes the first of two very scary parts for me. Connecting the thighs with the lower legs. This must have an absolutely strong connection, because all the model's weight will last on these joints. So I used some hot glue and a ton, and by a ton I mean really a ton, of super glue and baking powder to lock it all in place. Luckily for me, it worked. First obstacle, check. Now I'm gluing the ventilation modules to the thighs. Here are a few piston joints that I painted off screen and are now attached. I really like how they add more realism to those legs. After assembling the legs, I procrastinated for a couple hours, because I knew I had to face the second and more risky problem: joining the legs with the main body while making sure the model is able to stand alone and is evenly balanced, while keeping in mind the whole transformed tank has to be added on top after that as well. And I had to work quick because of the hot glue. No pressure at all. I was so scared I nearly filmed out of frame. So after applying the hot glue, I had to work very fast and even needed a helping hand to hold the model in place while gluing down the second leg. Thanks, waifu. After holding it in place for the hot glue to dry, again a ton of super glue, even more than by the legs, was added. A bond forever. I felt a big relief watching my model taking its first steps into this reality of hard work. And now it was time to add the tank to the top. After the tactical hot glue reload, the platform was locked into place. So in the end, everything worked fine, everything stayed together, was really balanced, and I was happy. A happy little boy. So, final spurt, gluing on the shoulders. Applying the shoulder pads. And both arms. And the final piece, the hand. We officially reached the last stage of this building process, the washing phase. I used a little water spray pump to wet the complete model in order to get an even coverage of the wash. This helped the wash to reach all the tiny little gaps and bring out all the details and recesses. For this washing process, I used a dark brown wash, just some acrylic paints combined with water. For inspiration purposes, I shot some photos of rusty textures and took some online inspiration which I want to share with you. You find the links to these artworks down below if you're interested. And now I want to share the image of a model that I wanted to create in the first place. Here we go. Yes, I really wanted to recreate that exact model, but somewhere along the way I got lost. I guess that can happen sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? You just watched 10 months of work in roughly 40 minutes. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed and I see you around. Hopefully not in 10 months. I owe you a big thank you. If you want to see more of my videos, feel free to check them out. And if you have any questions about my model, write a comment down below. I'm not a hot dog. Please keep that in mind.